Hello and welcome to the Bet Makes May subscription box. I'm Rebecca and I'll be taking you through this project. This box is available to purchase on betbeck.co.uk throughout May. Here's a little hint, this box has oceany vibes. So let's open it and see what we've got inside. Each box contains a leaflet which has a brief description of the project included and what elements are in the box. There are actually 3 projects in this box. The silicone project is to create a ship in a bottle. If it's your first box, you'll receive 20 ml of the UV resin, otherwise you'll receive a 10 ml bottle like this. Then you have your findings and pigments and your 2 wooden shapes which feature a turtle and a dolphin with a floral design. So in this box you have 3 pigment powders and some real sand, 2 larger shells, a necklace bail and chain, a clutch pin and back, and then I included a load of little shells for you to experiment with. To start with, we're mixing a little of the brown pigment powder into the UV resin. Then we're going to fill the little ship design at the top of the mould. Don't worry if it looks really scruffy, these little bits of silicone are going to give details to your sails. Try not to overfill this mould as the ship is going to go inside your bottle, so it needs to be quite slim. Holding the bottle mould at an angle, you want to use the same brown pigment to fill up the area where the bottle cap would be or lid, and there is a little detail line in there, so if you just fill up to the line and then prop it up as it's curing so that it doesn't run into the bottle. Once the bottle lid is completely cured, you just want to fill the rest of the mould up using the clear UV resin straight from the bottle. Make sure that the tip of your bottle is full before you squeeze so that you're not putting any extra bubbles into it. Because the edges of these moulds are quite narrow, I'm just using a little detail stick to make sure there's no bubbles trapped down the edges. Then fully cure for 2 to 4 minutes on both sides. Once your ship embellishment is fully cured, you can see all the details. Next we're going to make the little starfish for later on in the project, so you just need to mix a bit of the orange pigment with the UV resin and repeat the same process. Use the edge of your stick to wipe off any excess UV resin. The last element we need to create our ship in a bottle is the front of the bottle, which is this shape here. So you just want to fill that with the UV resin, and you need to make sure that this is completely level with the mould. Don't go over, otherwise it will ruin the finished effect. It's best to keep this mould completely flat, so I would recommend bringing the lamp to your project and curing it in place. Next you want to take everything out of the mould ready to assemble. So we have our starfish here, just break off any little excess bits if you've gone over slightly. Our clear front panel, and then the bottle itself. Where I've gone over on the edge of the bottle, I've just broken it off with my fingers or snipped it off with some scissors to make it neater. Next we need to mix up our blue pigment with the UV resin, ready to create our ocean. Here I'm popping a little dot of the UV resin into the inside of the bottle, and this is to secure our ship in place so that it doesn't trap air bubbles underneath and it stays exactly where we want it. Once I'm happy with the positioning, I'm going to pop it under the UV light. Next we're going to use the blue pigment mixture to create an ocean effect in the bottom of the bottle, and you just want to make sure that you don't go over the internal line. Once you're happy, pop this under the UV lamp and cure it in place. The front disc we created earlier should fit perfectly into your bottle. but we need to secure this in place with a little of the UV resin. So on the internal rim, we're just going to run a little bit of the UV resin all around it, and don't worry about being too neat, as once you push the disc into place, everything will find its spot. Then I'm just using the clean end of the stick to push it all into place so that I don't get UV resin on my hands. To finish off, you just need a little blob of the UV resin, and you use your pin back to scoop it up and sit it behind your ship. And then pop it back under the lamp. I'm just going to show you another way to finish the ship in the bottle, and I didn't include this as a sub-project because it's actually really tricky and hard to gauge. So into my finished bottle, I've put some silicone oil, and now I'm going to scoop some glitter into that oil and mix it around. Now the reason I'm doing this is sometimes the glitter statics to the bottle itself, so by mixing it into the silicone oil this way, you hopefully avoid it sticking in one place. You can also use baby oil or water for this. So what makes this a very fiddly little project is that you're filling the bottle itself up, so we can't move the bottle once we've got everything in. And you need to make sure that you do not go over that line, and also when you put your ship in, that the contents are not too deep so that the front disc doesn't fit on, or it's too tight for there to be some movement inside. Then the same as before, you're just going to run the resin around the edge and put your front disc in place. Now you'll notice as you put your disc in place that it will trap air bubbles. You actually want these bubbles inside your bottle because they will help create movement. Don't worry too much if you have overfilled your design slightly, because what you can do is once the front disc is secured in place, you can then do a clear layer of the UV resin to dome it, and this will correct any imperfections. So annoyingly, this didn't turn out perfectly because I put a little bit too much glitter behind the ship, so it almost got wedged in place. But a little bit of trial and error, and I think you could make this into something beautiful. And you could literally put whatever you like inside these bottles, as long as it's less than 3mm deep. Next, we're going to create a little beach scene within a shell. So first you want to decide whereabouts you want your necklace bail to go, and we're going to use the UV resin later on to attach this in place. Next, you want to mix the sand and the UV resin together, and you just treat this like you would a pigment, making sure it's fully mixed in. Next, using the wooden stick, you want to drip the mixture into the base of the shell and then cure it in place. Leaving some of the sand visible, you want to create an ocean layer using the blue pigment and UV resin. Then add a little more UV resin to the same blue mixture to create a lighter shade to be the sky. I recommend curing this in place and then adding a clear layer before adding your starfish, which I didn't do here, but I did do on my previous version, and I'll show you the difference. I think it looks much better where the starfish isn't submerged into the ocean. Adding the necklace bail is really simple, but you do need to take care when curing to prop it up on something so it doesn't fall off. So all I've done is added some UV resin directly onto the shell and then sat the necklace bail in place where I'd like it. and then I've got a little bit of the UV resin, and I'm just going around the edges of it to secure it in place. Once cured, it will be firmly attached. Then all you need to do is thread your chain through the bail and you have a necklace ready to go. So for the final project, I'm going to show you how to create the floral turtle design. Now you can colour these in using whatever you like pretty much, because the wood quality is really good, but I'm using acrylic paints here, the liquid kind of acrylic paints. But you can also use things like felt tips, acrylic paint pens, watercolours. Once completely dry, you need to add some masking tape onto the back of your design so that the UV resin doesn't leak out. Then we'll mix some UV resin into the glitters, and using the wooden sticks, we will scrape the glitter into those holes on the designs. Or if you want to be really precise, you could fill in each of those holes using different coloured glitters to pick out the different elements of the flowers. We recommend wearing gloves when using UV resin because some people can have sensitivities to it, and it's really sticky stuff, so you just don't want it on your hands. I make sure that I never come in contact with it, and I use things like the masking tape to avoid getting it on my fingers. Once you're happy with all your glitter layers, pop them under the UV lamp and cure it in place. The next step is to add a clear domed layer on the top of your design, and this will just magnify the glitter inside and give you a lovely shiny finish. Once finished, you could add a brooch pin to this or use it as an embellishment on a card. I just think it looks super pretty, and the way the domed layer of UV resin magnifies what's inside just makes it look really special. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you're not.